Our hope today is to provide some insight to help you manage this reality. It is across the board a very complicated reality for a lot of families. And we were chatting a little bit with the teachers. They themselves, although they are teachers as parents, also have to face some of these predicaments. So we're going to go through some thoughts and ideas that might be useful to you. Our intention is to give you support and some tools to continue managing this reality. So thank you so much for your time, and we hope that this session is going to be supportive. The goal of this session is to share some best practices for teaching at home, that you begin to conceptualize this whole reality from a different framework, so that you're intentional about understanding the roles that you have to play as a teacher and as a parent at home, and then that somehow that there are ways that you can make maybe adjustments to what you're doing or reinforce what you already are thinking about. So there are a total of 9 practices that I'm going to share in the session. And again, it's going to help to sort of really manage different sections of being a parent at home. We're going to go over with the whole idea of coming to terms with this reality of the pandemic and the impact it has on families to be able to have to teach. So that way you would take an empowering position in this role. If you haven't taken an empowering position, that you would think about it, that you reinforce faith and belief in yourself and your capacity to be competent in this role as a parent teacher, that you have another opportunity to re-examine your household loyalties, so you can be clear about how to set your scheduling with regards to being a parent and a teacher at home, as well as to set time that's intentional for instruction and coaching your children. And we hope that you sort of look at it as an opportunity to seek new resources and allies, not only to support you in this being able to teach at home right now, but going forward as your children get older, that you are partnering with the educational systems in a more intentional way. And then ultimately, once you have everything clear, that we hope that you are able to plan and implement and evaluate what you're strategizing in terms of how to manage instruction at home. And then always remember to take the time and to restore. So the first thing that I really want to reinforce for all of you is that I think it's taken time for many of us to really come to terms with the reality that things are not the way they used to be. I know it's been months, but the resurgence of the COVID pandemic impact and the fact that really strong measures have not been available to like really go back to what we used to think was normal has made it difficult for many of us to manage emotionally, psychologically, in many ways about, is this temporary? Is it permanent? What are we doing? And maybe find a way to embrace, not only to grieve the loss of that freedom, that time, that different way that we all lived, but also have the opportunity to examine the benefits of and the losses that came out of result of this pandemic. This is going to give you a chance to really be engaged in your child's education and their academic future in many, many ways that you wouldn't have had maybe if there was a separate between home and school. Of course, we know that good parents always are the ones that really get involved intentionally in their children's education. And this situation is forcing a lot of parents to have to fully be engaged in many, many ways because of the online instruction component, the lack of peer involvement. There's so many things that have changed things, but maybe the benefit of this whole experience, one way to look at this whole new journey is that you'll have a different type of control and influence and even sort of enjoyment in watching your child develop to be a partner with the school systems, with the teachers, and shaping the dynamics of your child's intellectual and personal development. Once we kind of grieve and just kind of come to this place where we accept reality, that we have a choice. Taking an empowering position to be present fully and responsible in this area of a brand new role is going to give you the strength to continue to be supportive of your child and the school systems and the teachers, and to really shape an opportunity of a development that's going to be very rewarding in the future. What we want to do is also let you know that you want to believe in your capacity to be competent to meet your obligation. Teaching is such a natural gift, an amazing contribution to community and to society. But learning occurs in the life of a child every day. So if you took like a broad approach and say, I am one of the teachers, and so I could begin to sort of believe in your own competency and capacity. And this could go across the board to different families who've had different socioeconomic or educational backgrounds, that there's a way you can be intentional in what you teach in terms of values and ideas and concepts and even instructional material, that you can get the resources, get the support, work with someone else, but know that you can still be competent to meet your obligation as a teacher. And I don't know the background of the teachers in this particular session that have shown up. And I'm assuming that this is not going to be a complicated concept, but usually like people have difficulty like feeling I'm not good enough for my kids, but your love and your commitment and your natural bond is a source of power that will get you to be what you need to be. So you want to be able to work on your self-esteem, your capacity to be a parent and then teach. You don't get to be hindered in how you can contribute. So be open to learn and get resources that you need to be able to contribute as a teacher from home. It's important that you're confident. Give yourself the grace to learn whatever you need to learn to be competent. And remember, this perfection is not the goal. Like there's nothing, this whole thing is something, as we were talking with the teachers earlier, we're learning together and how to manage not only online learning, but crisis management. Life still goes on in the middle of chaos and crisis that we are experiencing right now as an entire society or as a whole world. Shifting your expectation opens up space for growth. Take the time to use all your resources necessary to evaluate your life, work, school demands for all members of your household. So that way everyone is clear, including the kids, even the teachers, getting to know them a little bit more, because then that way you can create pathways of not only connection, but resources that help everybody to be strong during this time that we all need to be supported. And then being very transparent, notifying everyone of the schedules that are coming up and including the little children and their needs in it, not just as an obligation, but a way that they can be present even as we go forward beyond COVID, that everyone's need is like clearly understood and then it's supported by the household. There will be a set time for intentional instruction, coaching, and parenting. So there's an instruction component where you are involved in allowing kids to learn through the school system, whether it be online or you helping them with the homework. And there's a coaching component where you are shaping them as a human being in an instructional manner. Not only it's intellectual, but also in their own personal development. You're taking the time to be intentional as you're helping them grow. And then there's a parenting component where you're loving, caring, and tenderly sort of connecting with them. And then there's ways that you can at least sort of intentionally segregate in your mind about what you're doing. And if you separate those out in a way and you see yourself in that eye, they can also embrace you in that eye. And you don't have to be the only one. They can still have that available and your greater resource. Other members of the family can take the same role to make your objectives more manageable. It's good and productive for you. And that your child also begins to see you that way. So when you're looking at your child as an instructor, you're hoping that they get the lessons learned and that they're able to develop skill sets that's gonna help them grow as a human being and as an intellectual person. When you're coaching them, you're intentionally hoping to bring out their own gifts and natural sort of skill sets and shape it for them with their involvement, that they're able to powerfully become who they really are. And you take a little bit of more an objective but supportive role. And when you're parenting, you're just emotionally like available for their whole total well-being. And so that coaching piece or that instruction piece was maybe not as available pre-COVID, but this is where you can take on that and believe that you could do that and get the support that you need going forward the rest of the life of your child, that you're able to be like a talent scout and not force yourself into who you want them to be or you wish for them to be, but allow them to come to the fruition of who they really are as a human being. And I think that's going to give you great opportunities. You can seek out whatever you need through counseling, that's necessary to really address the issues that are coming up for you. Anytime something comes up, be open to learn and to grow. Then the next thing we recommend is planning, implementing, and evaluating a measurable outcome. These best practices can be crisscross. They're not just 1, 2, 3, 4, but they're available to you to always be sort of double checking to make sure you're on the right trajectory of what you need to do. Frequent communication, checking in helps you implement your plans, and then implement your plans intentionally, like the scheduled time of online instruction, the homework time or the reinforcement time, and being able to take sort of playtime or time alone with mom or dad or whatever as a coaching journey, like taking one activity, one way of being, one skill, and working on those things and measuring that. And then if it's academic, like checking in with the instructors if you need to, and to being consistent so that there's a beneficial routine established to ensure growth and development. And lastly, what we recommend is that you take time to rest and restore and refuel. It is exhausting where you have to do everything on your own, but finding ways to restore, refuel, and rest for yourself as a parent is gonna make it easier for you to process your thoughts, your ideas, and the roles that you're playing, not only now, but for future. This is the time I've noticed is more important to really verbalize. I need this. I need rest. I need to read a book. I need to watch TV. I need to take a walk. And it's not about not meeting everybody else's desire, but it's like, I need to restore this way so I can be available to you. And laugh at your mistakes and just relax and not try to be this perfectionist workaholic, but just like do things intentionally in such a way that you're supported and supporting yourself. Take this privilege of an interruption of life by COVID as a way to open up to new way of growing as a human being and the roles that you play. And especially as parents, like embrace being a co-instructor, a coach, and take that all the way to the end. All you can do is the best you can and be kind to yourself, be gracious to yourself, knowing it's not an easy job to be responsible for a human being life, but find a way to enjoy it and be excited about it as an adventurous experience to discover yourself and your child and their future along the way. So I hope this was helpful.